Hey guys, it's Jipped. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new Tier 8 Japanese heavy tank, the Nameless, and it is from Valkyria Chronicles. The interesting part about this tank is it is exclusive to the Southeast Asia server, so we'll take a look at some of the stats of the tank and some gameplay, and we'll see how it's like. Alright guys, so we're going to take a look at the paper stats of the Nameless versus its Tier 8 heavy counterparts. You can see the tanks that I've selected here, and we'll just theorycraft this on paper because you can always pause or go back and compare these yourselves. The gist of it is that the Nameless has a better reload than all the other tanks for 20 less alpha. So you reload all the other tanks by about a second and a half, up to 2 seconds. And you'll have the best DPM out of all of them, even though it's only slightly. But what this does allow you to do is to keep enemies permatracked, and you do have good penetration at 220 for base compared to something like the Chrysler GF or the T32, which have 198 penetration. So you definitely want above 212 in today's meta, and 220 is certainly good. Obviously not as good as the Lova's 234, but it's serviceable for sure. Next, the other thing to take away is that the armor of the Nameless, the hull armor at 220 frontal, is very good, and you can see that it's the best out of all the tanks here, even the VKP there. We'll take a look at the armor model in a second, but you can see that with the 220 armor, it's going to be difficult to pen frontally without premium rounds. The turret armor is at 240, and that's way better than what's on the Tiger 2, pretty similar to the Chrysler GF and to the T32 in terms of what can penetrate it. The T32 obviously having pretty much an impenetrable turret at Tier 8. Next, what we'll take a look at is the view range, which is something that it does lack compared to the other tanks, but I've put coated optics on mine, and I've run it with food. With the Zero Skill Brothers in Arms crew, you do get max view range. And lastly would be the mobility. The mobility of the tank is very good. It is the best out of all of the tanks here, and it is a quick tank with the best specific power, other than the Chrysler GF, but the top speed is much better at 50 kilometers an hour, and that is a speed that you'll reach. So think of it as a heavily armored fast medium. Anyways, we'll take a look at the armor model next. And here we can see the obvious weak spot for this tank would be the cupola. You can see it's about 220 in some parts, depending where you hit it. If you're facing it straight on, you'll need 220 pen, 210, 211, right in the center. If you hit anywhere off to the edge, it's going to bounce. As you can see, it gets up to near the 300s here. Even from a below angle, that's about the same. It can get up to, 200, 300 armor. So it's pretty iffy unless you're straight on, and the turret obviously not going to be penned frontally at all. These are just ridiculous armor values here. The front, this is straight on shot. Obviously upper plate, that's not going through unless maybe you're a Jagdpanzer 100. And the upper plate here, straight on 230, it's iffy. You might be able to. And the lower plate 220. So you need, I would safely say, 225 pen to safely penetrate the front hull anywhere straight on. Of course, most players will try to angle. You'll see, of course, side scraping. You're not going to pen that. The lower plate gets up to 270 on an angle. Upper plate still remains about 240, 250-ish. So you're going to have some difficulty here. The one thing is, though, when it does angle this way, you can see this spot beneath the tracks, or sorry, above the tracks and beneath this plate, it does get quite weak. It's a very small space, but still you're going to want over 212 pen, and preferably 225. We're not going to bother taking a look at the rear and the sides because it's the rear and the side of the tank and anything can pen that. And in terms of theory crafting, that's enough. What we can take a look at now is the crew, which I mentioned in my initial impressions video. They are a weeaboo anime crew that you cannot swap out, so this is not a good crew trainer. The one good thing is that it is a zero skill crew, so you will get them to train essentially 50% faster in the long run. And they do come replete with full, anime voices, if you can understand what they're saying. Anyways, let's take a look at some gameplay. Alright, so here we have a top tier game on Siegfried Line Standard, and playing against some tomato top tiers, but also some decent players on their team. Our AMX M449 Liberté does not spawn into the game, and that puts us down one top tier heavy. Unfortunately, my team is far more potato than their team, but we'll see what we can do here. So because of the speed on the Nameless, it's pretty good to try and take up the aggressive center position by the church. Probably get there first. And it's also a somewhat RD safe position, if you can call anywhere on the map RD safe. So should have been ready for this shot here. Nameless does pop out, but I'm too slow to react to that. Here, turning the turret to make sure, as we cross. Nothing to really peek. Here, this is a bit of a bad peek by myself. I'm showing so much my side. I actually had the angle wrong, and I overpeaked that T-32 there, but I do manage to get a shot, and it's a pretty good trade, where I hit him for 308 and he hit me, he loped for 263. IS-3 pulls up, and I pull back. He thinks he can try to shoot me, but that's not happening. He comes out again. I'm not sure how that shot goes in, but it does manage to pen his lower plate. Now the I-6 is in a bit of an annoying position for me here because he is sort of distracting, being in the way. So I took a look around there, kept my cursor aimed by using the right mouse button, and luckily it was still aimed so I could hit the T-32. The I-3 pens me there. It's a bit of a strange pen. Must have high rolled. Managed to track the T-32 as he pulled out. You can see he's going to try to side scrape, but there's no way he's over angling here, and I pen him through the track and into the hull. IS-3's peeking. I don't want to take another shot. I out-reload the T-32, and he bounces off me. Now here the Batchat 12T crosses. I don't want to get shot in the side, so I'm going to pay attention to him. He doesn't seem to notice that I'm here. He's overexposing his tank in the back, and I take a shot and track him. Now the plan here is to perma-track him because, as you can see, my reload's at 7.27 seconds. The second shot doesn't seem to do it, but I think he actually repairs is what happened there, and he pulls ahead. You can see that I am experiencing a bit of a replay bug on my mini-map, and tanks are just appearing everywhere. But they're last spotted, but it's not too big a deal. I guess the point here is to get a feel of the armor and the gun handling of this tank. There's not too much that we're going to do in terms of running around. I can't really pull out to engage these because of the Batchat, but I'm going to try. Because the tank is so tall, I can shoot him from the side here. Side of the turret Nameless is very well angled. That's not going to happen, so I'm going to go for the cupola shot and try to support this IS-6. Pen the cupola from the side. Also, these hitboxes on these rocks aren't very well angled. You can see it's an orange pen marker, but do get lucky for the shot there. KV-4, I'm going to only have his cupola to shoot at, and it's an easy shot. It's a big cupola, so I'm just going to farm him while he's distracted here. Ideally, I'd like to shoot the Nameless there, but it's going to be a tough shot. A bit slow in the reload for the KV-4. And the already picks up the Nameless. So taking a look around, I'm in a bad position here. I should actually not pull up there, and I should have pulled back. But I wanted to support this Schwarzpanzer. And I thought it was a pretty good position here. So I don't have the reload there. Track the KV-4. He tracks me. The E4 shoots APCR probably into my lower plate. bounce the IS-3, E4 is still shooting gold. I mean, that's 270 pen, that's going to go straight through, basically. And at this point, this is pretty much GG for me. I don't really have anywhere I can retreat to. It's already a 3-6, and Centurion's in my way. IS-3 pens that shot, and go through the track of the E4 again. And that's the game for us. Despite that, dying very quickly, we can see that we got the ace tanker for 5.4k and just 350 spotting. Made 126,000 in terms of credits despite using the onigiri. Didn't have to shoot premium because it was a tier 8 game, and that was nice. So the ace tanker, the high caliber, and in the end, overall, a loss. We do get the courageous resistance because we got the high caliber, I believe. But it was a pretty bad game. We died pretty quick. Probably could have done a lot more with a bit better positioning and some support. What do I think of the Nameless? I think it is a better Tiger II. It's a good tank, fairly large, and it does have a nice gun in terms of DPM. But ultimately, if you're looking for a crew trainer, this is definitely not it, since you can't replace the crew. But it is a unique tank. I don't think it'll be rare to see any more of these in the game, like any more of these anime collabs probably. It's getting a lot of debate, I think. But it's a good tank for a collector, and it's a pretty fun tank to play, I think. Anyways, let me know your opinions, and hopefully you guys have fun with it if you do buy it, and if you don't, then have fun playing against it. Alright, have a good one, guys.